Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 30 of the French Fox podcast. Glad to have you all here. You know how it goes down. We're going to have some fun for the next who knows how long with Ben.
What's up, guys?
Will.
Hello, everyone.
Dylan.
Hello.
And I am Augie. Let's get things rolling. Roll the intro, baby.
French Fox. French Fox.
Yeah.
French Fox. French Fox.
Yeah.
French Fox podcast.
So let's jump into, since we last spoke, another intro. Roll it.
Talking is easy, we gotta catch up. Please don't hold a single little thing for me. Since we last spoke.
I love these back-to-back intros.
We need something in between the intro and since we last spoke.
We need to go back to when you used to say, grab your gerbil and enter your
but that's before
hydration chamber.
That's before the first intro.
But what if we just put it between
Anyways,
two intros? It's like Zach Galifianakis' Between Two Ferns.
Is the
between
intro?
two intros.
Wait, is the intro still
guys,
going?
new bit.
No, the
Oh.
intro finished and then we started talking.
I just came up with a new bit.
Okay.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Between Two Intros with Benn Galifianakis. I would like to...
Oh, maybe every podcast you'll have a little piece of advice in between the intro and the since we last spoke.
Wait, but we need an intro for that.
Before
No, we don't.
that would really ruin it.
Oh no, that would be
So
troublesome.
before you are passed along to your next intro, the intro for Since We Last Spoke,
No, but we
I just
already
wanted
rolled
to
the intro
remind
Since We Last
each of you to live every day like it's your last. This has been Benn Galifianakis on Between Two Intros.
Let's roll that intro again.
Nope. Hey guys, it's Noah from the future editing the podcast again. What's up? No, I am not going to play the intro again. So
All right, I'm so sorry.
So,
it's a
here we
great
are for
intro. But,
Since We Last Spoke.
All right, so since we last spoke, you know how it works. We catch you up on what's going on since we last spoke. Anybody got anything?
I got one.
Yeah.
So this past, this timing's gonna be. So a week ago from when this podcast is released was Valentine's Day.
From when it's released.
Yeah, from when it's released.
When you're hearing this, we record on a classified day.
It's a Sunday. We
No,
recorded the Sunday before.
Undisclosed
We also
day.
record office hours.
No,
Check it out on YouTube.
I don't know what you're talking
We
about.
record on the day between Sunday and Monday.
We record between.
It's secret.
We record between the two intros. That's when we do the podcast.
Well, that's my new bit.
What?
Guys, if you have not,
What
make
happened
sure
on
to check out Between
Valentine's?
Two Intros.
What happened on Valentine's?
So
Day?
I was working the night before, and my boss, I'm trying to get a raise, and my boss is like, "Hey, do you want to come in for Valentine's Day?" And I already don't have plans because my girlfriend's going to be at work, so I'm like, "Yeah, I guess I'll come in. I'm at school until 6, but I'll just come in after." And she's like, "Yeah, just come in whenever." So I stroll in around 6:45. There's 78 names on the wait.
oh wow.
my God.
All of them parties of 2. The wait is an hour and 20 minutes, and it got me
Like
thinking.
a Disneyland ride.
Wait, so you guys can go through 78 tables in an hour 20, or like what does that mean? Like the numbers?
That means you put your name on. The idea is every name is a minute. So every minute a new table is getting up, and the way that would work is if you're filling the restaurant properly, then it just works out that way. If you sit everyone at once, then everyone's going to get up at the same time. But if you sit someone every minute, then every minute someone will be getting up.
After like an hour.
Interesting.
Exactly. So the idea for dinner, you assume parties of 2 are going to last 2 hours. Parties of 3 and 4 are going to last an hour 15. Parties of 6 are going to be
Less
Why?
is more?
No,
So
I
less
said 3s
people-
and 4s are going to last an hour 15.
But
Like
you said-
sitting at the table.
But you said 2 people is 2 hours.
Right,
So
because
that's what I'm
the
saying.
thing is,
Less is more.
well,
I
the
did not
thing is,
realize
the
that.
thing is, you can sit a 2 at any table. You can only sit 3s and 4s. It was just because that night we only had 2s because it was Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
People are coming.
Oh,
with
that
their
like
dates.
holiday to sell cards. Yeah, I remember.
Exactly. Oh, capitalism.
Gosh, we
But-
should all
but
be socialists.
We got up to 100 names on the wait,
Whoa.
and my thinking
Is
is,
that like a new record? Like, is everyone in like high fiving in the back?
no,
Like, woo!
all the servers are
100
like,
names,
get
3
us,
digits.
get us off this wait. I want to go home. We close at 11. We're still taking names at 10:30.
no.
So it's like,
I'm
what
so
are we gonna do?
sorry.
But anyway,
Hey, this is a anti shout out to all those boyfriends who were so last minute that it was Cheesecake Factory.
I was
at
just gonna say that.
10:30.
I was like, "Who's going to Cheesecake Factory? Let's go. We're going to the Cheesecake Factory at 10:30
I love
p.m.
cheesecake.
Well, okay,
I almost
no,
Yeah,
did.
but
no.
for Valentine's Day,
But
But if you're a
romantic
good boyfriend,
evening-
don't you plan ahead so that you're not
Here-
putting your name
You're
down
at least at
10:30?
Let me-
Maggiano's.
Yes.
On Cheesecake Factory?
The time is the issue.
Let me describe the crowd.
The
The
Here's
place is
thing.
great. The place is great.
Love it.
We really screw it up for people because we don't take reservations. You have to be in the restaurant to put your name down, okay?
Savage.
So it's not like you can make a reservation beforehand. Cheesecake Factory is kind of nice. It's expensive for
That's
some
the
people.
weird part. It gives off the vibe that it'd be a place where you can like get a reservation.
You-
It looks like
Right.
If someone showed me a picture of the interior, I'd be like, oh yeah, I need to get a reservation for that.
Right.
Better call
It's
it
a
half.
weird midpoint between like a normal walk-in restaurant and like a fancy place.
Yeah, it's
But I
probably
like it.
it's probably the
It's it.
top of the mid-tier
Yes,
restaurant.
For sure.
Yeah, I think that's exactly where it wants to be too.
Exactly. It's a great niche.
That's where I wanna
it's,
be.
It's a great niche to occupy.
But here's the waves of people that came in around when I got there, 6:45. You know, you had some families with their little kids coming in.
That is cute.
You had
Oh my god.
That's cute.
you
Huge.
had teenagers or like old
No
like
way.
20-year-olds.
Darn
Darn
smile.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So
you guys
sweet.
can't see me, but like I'm smiling
So
from
sweet.
ear to ear.
That's the crowd from like
Precious.
6:30 to like 9. Then from 9 on, it's all just like middle-aged men like wearing like weird blazers. And of course, there's always like some nice people, but like like their mail order brides walking in.
Wait, what does that mean again?
A mail order bride,
Yeah.
and you like picture like you're lonely, you order a bride from Russia,
Oh,
like
do
like
that?
you know.
I want to cry right now.
But it's like it was weird, and it made me think like sometimes I'll, like you were saying, it reminds you of Disneyland. Sometimes I'll see a ride at Disneyland, I'll be like, this is not worth 40 minutes of my time. But like,
Yeah.
how long are you willing to wait for a restaurant?
And Cheesecake Factory.
Exactly.
This isn't like sugar.
And this was the
Fish.
wait last night too, Saturday.
Interesting comparison. I had no idea what you were gonna say, but like yeah.
Yeah, that one works.
It makes
right?
sense,
I
it makes
couldn't think of,
sense.
Why can't I picture sugarfish?
It's
it's just like it's,
Sushi, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's like
They have
a
great-
famous chef, famous sushi.
Okay,
sushi-
yeah,
They
yeah.
have
sushi
great
chef.
It's not like
edamame.
right. It's not like there's some sort of attraction that brings you to Cheesecake
No,
Factory.
they're everywhere.
right.
there's cheesecake.
And you can order everything.
Yeah. And the crazy part is we have like 100 names on the wait, and there's also like 70 takeout orders every hour.
Wow.
Those chefs be cooking.
It is ridiculous. Like the line, I don't know if you've ever like Cheesecake Factory. Usually, most of the kitchens are open where you can see the line with the food on it.
Uh-huh.
There's like
Is yours
it's
that
full.
way?
Yeah, you can see it. It's full.
You've been
of
back
like,
there.
full-
That is cool.
yeah.
I am jealous.
Does that mean you got promoted to hostess
head
two?
chef?
No,
Are you head
Sous
chef?
chef.
I'm head chef of Cheesecake Factory. Total.
New York.
International?
All of them. International.
Oh my god.
So if you have
Dubai.
anyone have any ideas they want to pitch to me for cheesecakes, some sort of dinner option.
If you could actually put the Americana on the Americana burger, that'd be great.
Oh, fair point. Fair point. I'll take that. Americana
Oh, that
on
is
the
a
Americana.
retro reference.
Wow.
Retro
If you
French
get
Fox
that-
Oh, yeah.
reference.
I'll give you a $5 bill.
You will?
Yeah.
What do we count?
Yeah,
No,
I get so
no.
here.
No, you guys
Pay
no,
up,
I get it.
buddy.
I'm talking about people who
Pay up,
who are
bucko.
who listen. I have an idea.
Buckaroo.
You take Nutella and you freeze it into a solid, and you make that the crust on which you put the cheesecake.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say put it in the cheesecake, and I was like, oh, you mean the Nutella cheesecake?
Oh, darn. You're red flags. No, I'm talking about you're making a frozen Nutella crust with cheesecake.
I've
and then
had
it's,
something like it.
And
The
then it's
problem
drizzled
is-
in like, instead of a graham cracker crust cheesecake drizzled in Nutella, this is the backwards. It's Nutella hardened crust cheesecake drizzled in graham cracker. Make it happen.
That's cool. The only thing is, I've had like when you freeze like chocolate or Nutella, it
Yeah.
just gets rock hard. Like,
Yeah.
it's really hard.
I
to,
know, but that's
to
it's
cut
fun
through or-
texture.
So
It's a
there's
fun
this-
texture
It
for me.
is.
My favorite one is the Oreo Dream Extreme cheesecake, which is kind of like that.
I think
where
I've had this,
The graham
actually.
I've had
cracker
that
is
as
like
well.
it's
It's
like
so
Oreo
good.
cookies.
Did
and
we
then
all
you
have that in Ohio?
maybe.
No.
Let's
'Cause
roll.
remember when we went to
Guys, I think this is a good time to roll the sponsorship read.
Sponsored by Cheesecake.
Yeah. We love
that's the
hanging
whole
out
reason.
as a team. And company lunch is so important.
Yes. Guys, continue talking while I just sneak in hashtag sponsored, hashtag Cheesecake Factory, hashtag
Cheesecake
advertisement.
Cheesecake Factory
We had to
is
say
the
that,
place
so-
to be. Go to cheesecakefactory.com/FrenchFoxProd. That's cheesecakefactory.com/FrenchFoxProd.
Can you spell it?
15% off. That's FrenchFoxProd. I'm trying to stall because Will has something that he's trying to pull up that he's really proud of.
And if you go to Cheesecake Factory during the month of March, you can actually order the French Fox cheesecake,
Oh
which
my
is a
gosh.
cheesecake designed
It's bland
by...
and ugly like our office.
Oh.
No, it's raspberry and extreme like our Valentine's Day office.
Oh. Why wouldn't they have that in February then?
Because it's like economics. Like once you react to the market, like it's already too late.
It's
Okay.
like economics.
So last time, that's cheesecake.com/FrenchFoxProd for your 15% offer.
Cheesecake Factory. We nourish body, mind, spirit, and heart.
That's not their slogan.
It's something like that. I can't find it.
That is the most
That is
generic.
fine.
You can say that for any company.
That's why it's so
Soul
funny.
Cycle, where you mend the body, heart, and soul.
That's why it's so funny. I can't find it though.
Yeah.
Then let it go.
Anyone else do anything fun?
I have, well, I guess you could call it.
It doesn't have to be fun, actually, but
Yeah,
anything
I
else
mean-
happen?
Okay, so this was kind of interesting. This is, I think, like the day before Halloween. It was raining. It was a cold, rainy day. But no,
Wait, hold on a
What?
second.
We're talking about like over the last week, not
Yeah.
just in your
What did you
life.
s- I
No,
saw
I
you-
know.
You said the day.
Was it not raining?
You said the
You
day
said
after Halloween.
Oh, I meant Valentine's Day.
Whoa.
What a Freudian slip! Like this guy thinks that
Because
they're the
Dylan
same
gets dressed
holiday.
up on both holidays.
So anyway,
Yeah.
it's raining.
Yeah, so it was a cold, rainy that was a Wednesday.
No,
It was a
Friday.
Friday.
The day before?
Before.
He said
Oh,
before.
I think you said the day after Halloween.
We had the same exact thought, Augie.
Anyway, it doesn't really matter. But I have no fourth period, which means 2 hours of my school day are usually just I don't do anything. I get homework done or something. But I went to a Starbucks this time. I got myself a drink. I got my friend
Did
a
you
drink.
walk there?
No, I lifted.
Got it.
Oh yeah,
How many times do you lift a day? On average.
one or two.
It's
One-
cheaper than owning a car.
I'm taking my license test soon, so
but
it will soon end.
owning a car is so convenient.
And
awesome.
gas is so expensive.
Not when you drive
And
a
insurance,
Prius.
too.
Time to roll our second.
And insurance.
Time to roll our second sponsor.
State Farm.
Prius.
And Shell and Prius.
AARP.
Isn't that for
Dollar
old
Shave
people?
I have no idea. I just wanted to say it.
NASA, a government
An independent regulatory.
Wait, I thought they
No,
were.
they're an independent executive agency.
NASA,
yeah,
we
good job.
nourish body, mind, spirit, and soul through space.
Okay, sorry. So you were at Starbucks.
So I'm at Starbucks. I got myself a drink, got my sister a drink, and I got my friend a drink. And then I'm drinking my drink. And I still have like 30 minutes left until I have to get back to school. But it's lunchtime now, so some of the actual other kids from my school are coming to Starbucks to like get their drinks during this lunch period. And all of a sudden I see outside because I'm sitting by these huge glass windows, and I see outside this kind of like, I guess, middle-aged woman standing in the rain, and she is surrounded by this group of like teenage girls, like my age, and a few that I even recognize from school. So hey, shout out. And they're like all in this really, it's not a real shout out. They were, everybody looked very angry, which is probably obvious. But I was like, none of my business. I'm sure that.
Why is it obvious that they're angry? I've never
did
been more
you think
confused.
they were in a crowd to like be happy?
I've
I
never
guess.
been more confused in my life.
What I was picturing, I don't want to interrupt the story any longer, but I was just picturing a bunch of people like
Around.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I'll give more
I'm
context.
picturing like Kim Kardashian.
That was my bad. No, they're very angry. They I see them start to take out their phones to film it. So it's like the thing where now I'm gonna see this on Philip DeFranco. It's like definitely gonna be one of
That's
those
a shout-out.
controversies. That is a shout
That's
out.
There
my
it
first
is.
thought. Anytime I see someone filming, like, oh, Philip DeFranco's
it
going to
feels
cover
like
this.
it would be like the thing where it's like, yes, so these girls uploaded this footage from the other day, and then it like rolls that clip. But anyway, I was like, none of my business. And then like 10 minutes later, I go outside, I'm ordering my Lyft, and the Lyft just so happens to say that it's going to pick me up like right next to where they're all having their fight.
So they're out there the whole time?
Yeah,
not getting
they're like
lunch, they're just-
surrounding her. She takes
Okay.
out her phone for a second, but then she puts it back away. I was really confused. But it's like about time for me to get back to school. And now there's these teen boys that came, and also they're like hopping around. They got like their hoodies up. And it's like the weirdest
As they
display
do.
of, I guess, adolescent energy ever. It was so weird. But I'm standing out by the curb and I'm just waiting for my lift. And I start to hear like, oh my God, she hit me. Like, look, I
What?
peek around the car and they keep putting their phones in her face to like film her. And then she like pushes a phone away and they're like, oh my God, the crazy lady hit me. And they like run around. So then I go over to the lady and I was like, hey, are you good? Like, I don't really know what's happening here, but I've been watching it for like 30 minutes.
Wait, what? In all of this chaos,
and then-
you were
so
like,
then all of the,
yo.
and all of the
You
like
good,
all
Ma?
of these teenage people start like kind of looking at me, and then they all go to. It was like so comical, but they all go to like the other side.
Did they all
of
beat
the-
you up? Because you kind of
No,
deserve
there's
it.
so there's like these pillars that like are supporting this kind of. It's like a cover for
Got
rain
it.
and stuff. They go around to the other side of the pillar. So then I'm just kind of talking to this lady, and it's like, oh my God,
So
it
you
sounds
walk
so
in-
much. It sounds like a cartoon, but they keep like peeking their heads out, and then
Okay.
like I look at them, and then they kind of like peek back in.
I can picture it.
You step in and the crowds disperse.
No, I think it was more like they were calling the police.
This has
Is
been
what
such
ended
a
up.
slow ride up to the top. And
I
I'm ready.
know.
I'm ready for the to
Please
find
tell
out
me
the
what
payoff.
happened.
So she was parking and they backed into her, and then I guess she got mad, but then she's like, you know what, it's fine. Like it was not a clear fault situation, she claimed. And then she went into CVS and they all ran in after her and were chasing her around, and the manager had to kick them all out.
How many girls were there surrounding her?
If I was taking
Like
a guess,
2.
like 6 to 8.
Because this is how I pictured it. One girl with a swarm of 20 younger girls around her. And then you
Like
just...
Girl Scout age?
No, like young, like 16, and like, you know, she's like 30 something, you know, mid 30s, and I'm picturing like they're like, oh my God, let me take your picture, like, oh wow, and then
It was angry.
I've
Wait,
never-
so was the woman like trying to avoid giving her the
No.
insurance information? Like,
no,
why were
I
they
think
chasing?
what happened was there was road rage on both ends because they got in the crash, and then they chased her because they were mad because she yelled at them when they got in the crash. Nobody ever mentioned like insurance or anything, but she was there talking to them, so that wouldn't really make sense. And then I found out they didn't disperse because of me, which like I had assumed anyway. I was like, they're probably going to do something. Like, I'm not intimidating.
Yeah, you're
But
not
then-
at all.
I know. It was never my assumption that they had left because of me. But what
You
they
were
were
kind
doing
of telling the
was,
story like you were a macho man.
no, not what I was trying. Not my intention. But they called the police, is what I found out. But then my lift got there, so I was just like, okay. And she's like, yeah, my daughter's here. She goes to your school, but I don't want to like give her a ride back because she's. I think she found her own way back because she's like, I don't want them to know who my daughter is and go after her.
so
And I was like,
confused.
so that
The
she has a
Lyft
younger
driver said
daughter.
that?
No, sorry, the lady I was
Did
talking
we all
to.
think the Lyft driver
Yes!
said it?
That would be funny.
Dylan!
No,
Oh
the
my
lady.
I
God.
thought the Lyft driver didn't want to
lady.
embarrass her daughter by
Yeah,
saying
I
I'm
thought-
a Lyft driver.
Yeah, that's what I
no,
thought too.
that would be so unrelated. No, it's
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why we were so confused.
no, it's this
Jesus.
this lady that I'm talking to. I have to go. She's like, my daughter's at school, and I'm like, oh yeah, definitely don't say who she is. So then anyway, I have to bring my sister her Starbucks. So I'm like, I'm sorry, I gotta go. So I say bye. I get in my Lyft. I go back to school, and
Did
then
you give her your number too?
no, just my email. No, but I go to my sister's classroom to deliver her Starbucks, and I'm passing her drink, and she's like, "What took you so long? Was it were you caught up in that thing that like happened outside of the Starbucks? Because I guess it's like being talked about in her class or something
And
now."
did you tell this whole 10-minute story?
No, I just went. I said
Because
it
if so, you've probably gotten beaten up. Did you get
I
beaten
just
up?
choked
No.
on my water.
And everyone is so confused. They're like, wait, we thought there was like a car accident outside. You're telling me like a Lyft driver was there, and everyone's so confused.
And there was like
And you
3
were there.
drinks,
And you
but
were
like
there.
6 girls.
What about the pillars? Where were the pillars
I'm trying to build.
Okay, wait.
spatial
Finish
awareness.
Finish off the story.
So I'm giving my sister her drink, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I was there. It was pretty weird." And then the girl in front of her turns around. She was like, "The lady outside of Starbucks," and I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "That's my mom."
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
This story started
Jeez.
nowhere, started to go somewhere, and ended nowhere.
Yeah, they're making
Which
a movie
means
about
that we've come to the conclusion of Dylan's segment. I tell a story, but make everyone hear the story go from ecstatic to dead.
I don't know how you got Lyft driver daughter.
Dude,
Because you
literally,
said- because
listen,
I
go
don't
back
wanna
and listen
I
to
don't
it.
want to replay because people are listening to the podcast. But you said so. Then my Lyft driver was there. So then I had to go, and so she was like,
Yeah.
Okay,
My
this
daughter-
is actually. This is not. I'm not going to tell that this isn't another story. This is actually just an interesting thing that is going to also be self-deprecating, so you'll like it. But
You don't need to be self-deprecating, and my brain does it for you.
I don't know if that's what self-deprecation
mean.
is.
That's just deprecation.
Yeah. But I'm taking the Aaron Sorkin masterclass thing I talked about that like 2 ago, and I am by no means saying that I am equivalent to Aaron Sorkin at all, but he is also someone who writes, which I am trying to get better at doing. That's something I like to
Celebrities,
do.
they're just like us.
Hey,
So you're telling me if I cook, I'm just like Guy Fieri?
I didn't what?
I think you
Or Gordon
you're very
Ramsay.
much like
think
Guy
that,
Fieri.
well, I
Thank
mean,
you.
yeah, there's 2 points.
Did you know it's pronounced Guy Fieri?
What?
What?
It's an
Yeah.
R, not a T.
Yeah, and
pronounced
it's
Guy
pronounced
Fieri.
diners, drive-ins, and DVs.
I promise. I promise it's Guy Fieri.
Oh, that's a good joke.
Okay, continue.
But anyway, he's actually
This whole podcast is having a laughing fest.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
But he was talking about he does the same thing that I think I do a lot, where it gets kind of confusing sometimes when he talks, and he actually addresses that, and he says it's something where he's actually famous. If you don't know, most people probably do. He's just famous for very fast, very linear conversations.
Like
it's very
the
much
West
like, that's a
Wing.
Sorkin conversation. Like
Yeah,
it's
or
like
like
a
the
style
opening
almost.
scene of The Social Network.
Yeah, some people like it, some people hate it, but it's very linear and cohesive. But he also kind of talks like this, where it gets confusing, or when he's telling a story, it kind of goes off on like 3 tangents at once, and it's made me start to wonder, because I do realize when I listen to the podcast that I also do that, if that's just like something with the brain type of also people who like to write and stuff.
I
if
think
that's
You
You
should
should
like
get
go
a
on
DNA
23andMe.
Oh.
wow.
Me and Will had the same idea. You have to see if you're related to
Here's
Aaron
what I have to
Sorkin.
say about that, Dylan. I think Augie and Ben, I could totally picture like a Sorkin conversation happening between the two of them. Like I come in and they like dismiss me or something really quickly, you know? But if you were in that conversation, like you just bring something else up, it wouldn't work.
Wait, that's not what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. I'm adding on to it.
Yeah,
Yes, and.
I agree.
Okay, yes.
This concludes since we last spoke.
Thank you.
Jeez.
Roll the outro.
Dude, we don't have an outro for
Oh.
anything, actually.
Since we last
Hey guys,
spoke.
it's Ben Zakavanakis, and
We're between 2 segments.
Zakavanakis.
yeah, another bit is gonna be like each time the last name's just gonna be more wrong.
Can we have a segment? Well, do we have a name for like the segment that's like current events?
Current events.
What's happening now and then? Do we know things? Do they know things?
Yeah, it's
Let's
just like
find
that's
out.
just like BoJack Horseman.
Testing the current. Events.
That's all right.
Events in parent. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, what if we call it salmons? Because we're swimming.
we're swimming
upstream. Or we want to
I
go.
don't get that.
We're swimming mainstream.
They go up waterfalls.
Let's call it the news hour.
Let's call it salmon. Welcome to salmon.
Okay, I think that's gonna stick. We're calling it salmon,
Yeah.
and people will just.
It's so obscure. it's such a leap from like what the
Do
reference
we need to
is.
give context of
No,
what
we
Ben
don't.
is doing? No,
No.
we don't. Okay.
It's just salmon.
But the idea is we're swimming upstream on all the current
all right. I'm changing it on my
events.
dock to salmon.
salmon.
No. Okay. Salmon number 1.
Which
so,
one is that?
Let
So
me guess.
Star Wars Episode 9 finished filming this week. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts overall on like the impact and your takeaway.
Haven't we already talked this
from,
though?
just from
okay.
yeah,
Just
just
talked more like in Star Wars God, I hate this word. It sounds so nerdy. We talked more in Star Wars lore, like what we feel about the new trilogy, but I think this is probably more of a business. Yeah, I know.
Like, did you like it?
Let
Yeah.
me.
This
I'm
new
very,
trilogy.
I'm very passionate about this whole thing, so maybe I should go first. Maybe I should go last. I have a lot of things to say, so I don't know.
Sam and me. Yeah.
Okay, here it goes.
The weirdest podcast.
Anyway, so here's how I feel about it. Let's start with episode 7, okay? What is it? The Force Awakens? If I wanted to rewatch A New Hope, I would have done that. I didn't need a movie detailing New
Look at
Hope with
video
new
essay.
characters. Another thing, they have this new like trio of characters. I don't think they ever interact with each other. They're not in the movie very often. It's like they're just hitting back on old themes that like, yeah, they were great, but I don't want to rewatch the same movie. All right? Cut to The Last Jedi. It's interesting. I like it, but it's just because we get a little more exposition. The first movie really sets up a lot of mystery, which I really dislike because the whole thing about Star Wars, like A New Hope, there wasn't a lot of mystery in the end. It's like the good guys win, and then they just kind of added, but it worked. It worked out well. Whereas like this, it's like they were trying to set up a trilogy, so they kind of had to do it that way. The plot was okay, wasn't great, and it's like the characters I were hoping would interact with each other. Like I was hoping it'd be Poe, Rey, and the new Han Solo.
John Boyega.
Is that him? No, John Boyega is Oh yeah. Poe is the
Yeah.
new Han Solo. What's John Boyega's character's name?
The
Finn.
stormtrooper guy, Finn.
Yeah, Finn. I was hoping it'd be like the three of them, like a trio, like Leia, Luke, and Han Solo, and that would have been fun to see the dynamic. But it's like Rey is on her own, Finn is on his own,
It's like Game of Thrones.
but bad.
Yeah.
It's like bad Game of Thrones in space. It's just.
Bad Game of... There you go. Will's review. Bad Game of Thrones in space. Dylan?
I think
Keep it concise, like Will.
corrupted by modern expectations for movies. Basically, my whole point can be summarized by just saying, imagine trying to make A New Hope if it hadn't been made yet, and you're trying to make it in modern day. There's no way you could make it as simple as it is when it was originally made, but I mean that in the best way. That's what makes it a classic.
I don't exactly understand. You want to make it simpler?
No.
Well, okay, just what's your take? What like
On the new ones,
on the new ones? Like overall solid, like they brought good stuff into it, or just like
I think
they
they're-
existed, they were fine.
I think they're good movies. I don't like them as an addition to Star Wars. I just think that they don't feel like Star Wars because now there's this pressure in the film industry to be complicated and do weaving storylines and big character development, which is cool, but it doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie. It's just a good series of movies that are kind of out of place.
Sure.
All Descent. I like them. I like Adam Driver a lot. He brings a lot, and I'm excited to see what happens with his character. Because he's an awesome actor.
That's for show.
And
He is shaped like a box.
without thinking about it too much, like I've gone and seen Force Awakens and The Last Jedi and like enjoyed them both. I really enjoyed Solo. Rogue One, like I'm not gonna jump up at, but like definitely I don't get up and like see movies at the movie theater very often, but like I've gone and seen every Star Wars movie because they're Star Wars movies. Like my dad talked to me about seeing Star Wars in the movies because I didn't get to see Star Wars in the movies. So while I have it, I'm gonna see it in the movies.
All right. I've only seen The Force Awakens. I thought it was fun, but it was just the fourth one. Over. Moving on to our next salmon. Okay.
Oh God, wait! I thought I had something for salmon. Can I jump in? Sorry.
Yeah.
But like this is huge.
Yes.
Have you guys seen the trailer for Yesterday?
Oh, I was going to recommend that.
What's
What's
yesterday?
yesterday?
What's
It is
yesterday?
It's
a new
amazing.
movie that has the coolest concept ever. Basically, there's a guy who like is like an aspiring singer-songwriter, but like no one knows him. And then some sort of like the whole planet, like it's very cliche and like funny, but the whole planet, like all the electricity goes like and comes back on, and he's in a weird place where everything is the same except no one knows who the Beatles are except him. And so one day he picks up a guitar and he's just like playing
Like
the
the
song
Beatles don't
Yesterday.
Sure.
And like all the people around him are like, "Oh my God, when did you write that? That's
Oh,
incredible."
okay.
And he's like, "I didn't write it. Paul McCartney wrote that." But anyway, the whole world doesn't know who the Beatles are. He does, and he just releases all the songs and is a superstar.
Huh.
And then you see what kind of chaos ensues. James Corden's in it. Ed Sheeran's in it. The trailer looks really good.
I saw the trailer
because
and
I love the
wasn't-
Beatles. Like this looks like it's gonna be so much.
Is it
Yeah.
a comedy?
Yes.
Probably
Okay.
yeah.
Mostly. I think probably dramatic comedy. My main thing just really quickly, my main thing watching that trailer was I was kind of just realizing the movie looks like it'll be really good in of itself, but I think the main thing about it is the Beatles songs are just so good. Like they're so timeless.
Oh yeah, and the main actor, I've never seen him before, but he seems like he's gonna be cute and awesome. In the role,
yeah.
So.
Augie thought there were.
Can I admit? I have something to admit over this podcast right now.
This is really
Up until sophomore year, I thought Bob Dylan was the fifth Beatle.
In all fairness,
in a moment of silence, please. Can everyone just?
I apologize.
I couldn't name all the Beatles right now.
You could not.
I
probably
could not.
could.
Go
Try
for it.
Go.
John Lennon,
Yes.
Paul McCartney,
Mhm.
Ringo Starr,
Mhm.
and
I'm
George
out.
Harrison.
Yeah.
Who the heck is George Harrison?
Exactly. I know Bob Dylan.
There
the 5 Beatles.
But there were 5 Beatles, just not all at the same time.
Okay.
I'll tell you, it was Lennon, Harrison, McCartney, and Pete Best.
I
Then
knew it was
they
a Pete
auditioned for Decca Records. Decca Records was like, "Nah, you guys suck."
Wait,
so they took a big
Academic
gap.
Records.
No, DECCA Records.
Ben was
And
like, no.
Get this, Decca
Lennon-
Records said no, so they went to EMI Records, and EMI was like, "Get rid of Pete Best, add Ringo Starr, and you've got yourself a deal."
That's
and then they
savage.
became the best rock band of all time.
That's
So,
really savage. Sorry.
Are they
Pete.
rock?
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes.
Okay.
most of the time. Yeah.
I guess one of the really cool things about them was that they weren't just rock, but mostly rock, I would say.
Speaking of movies, Breaking Bad sequel announced.
Oh yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
It's a
As-
movie.
as a
It's a
movie.
movie
As a
that is a
movie.
continuation.
I'm
With Bryan
not
Cranston?
happy.
Brian, what? I don't want to spoil it, but no, not with Bryan Cranston.
Oh,
Just Aaron Paul confirmed.
But Bryan Cranston would be happy to come on board if you were asked by the director.
Right.
Yeah,
wait, what?
Which
I'm sure.
That's what the article says.
I mean, he's involved. I think.
it's just like
Can you do it without him?
well, he's.
I mean,
Spoiler alert: he dies.
he's passed away.
He's dead.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah,
I haven't
so-
seen Breaking Bad.
So yeah,
So-
even yeah.
Wait, you've
so
never seen Breaking Bad?
Never seen it. I guess it's my apology time. I've never
yeah.
seen Breaking Bad.
So Noah, add a little like spoiler alert before we do that.
I
but-
said spoiler alert.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I said
yeah.
spoiler
So,
alert.
he dies at the end, which is like just
Gee, I
because
feel stupid
just
now.
because you know that, like, still watch it. It's an amazing show. Like,
You know
I knew that from the
beginning
start
that
watching.
he's gonna
Yeah, I knew
die.
that.
But anyways, it ended so perfectly. Like, yes, of course you could make more stuff because all those characters were so deep and fleshed out and stuff. But
Bless you.
I don't know. I feel like this isn't the best. It's like we're getting Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
I'm not too mad about Toy Story 4 because I feel like it's gonna be so good. I don't know.
Really? You
Toy
think it's gonna
Story
be so
3
good?
was god tier. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
And it ended on a god
Oh,
tier.
you know what looks amazing? Speaking of that, so it's How to Train Your Dragon 3, which
This Friday.
I don't love the spin-off TV shows. I didn't actually even watch more than a few with my little sister.
I saw 'em.
But so I guess I can't really judge them. I watched them with my little sister for like 2 episodes. But anyway,
Wait a second, Ben.
wait.
You
Yeah.
watched them?
That actually didn't fully click.
What?
How many of them are there?
Like 3 seasons.
You
Love
watched?
that show.
you actually?
You watched them all.
Yeah, I love Sid.
Starring Toothless.
Sid?
Sid and Toothless.
Who's Sid?
The guy who rides it.
No.
Oh.
I can't tell if you're like.
Sid?
So you haven't seen.
I've seen the first movie.
What's his
Oh,
name?
okay,
Isn't his
okay.
name
Hiccup.
like Runt? Oh.
Hiccup, yeah. You're close.
For some reason, Sid was what was in my head.
Okay.
Oh, I'm thinking of Ice.
Yes. What were you
anyway,
gonna say?
I was worried about the third movie for the same reason that I worry about Toy Story 4 because How to Train Your Dragon 2 is so good, but it has
I
never
98%
saw
on
it.
Rotten Tomatoes, so I'm pretty hyped now, and the trailer is pretty sick. So
Yeah, you know what else has a high score on Rotten Tomatoes?
Bumblebee.
Bumblebee.
I heard that was good. I'm really curious
Megan
about that.
Fox is so
She's not in it.
Talented.
yeah.
She's such a great
talented.
actress. You just can't take your eyes off of her acting ability.
If you look right at her, like dead at her eyes, you see the emotion in her face.
So good.
I love Megan Fox.
So do you guys know BTS?
Yeah. Oh, they
Stop. So BTS is like this huge K-pop band. Like they're like the most popular.
Did they do the one that's like Kimi no Se?
I
yes.
don't know.
We'll just say yes.
Cool.
I can't promise.
think
But
it's actually
anyways,
an anime
they were the first. This year they made history because they were the first K-pop presenters at the
Wow,
Grammys.
Interesting.
People
Cool.
love K-pop.
Wow.
Have you guys listened to K-pop?
Is so cool.
I've heard Gangnam Style.
Oh, but Gangnam
that
Style.
is K-pop.
And
But
I've
like,
also
it's such a
heard-
big
What was the song after
market.
Gangnam Style? Like, was it?
I'm
it
a
was-
boss or something.
Gentleman.
gentleman.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I'm a motherfucker gentleman.
Gentleman. Oop.
No,
Oop.
that's
Oop.
no. All right.
Gangnam Style.
I've heard a little bit of K-pop, and I will say I'm not into it at all. But I've heard some songs that like I can acknowledge are good songs. There's like cool arrangements.
I mean,
and
once I
stuff,
saw an anime musical episode. Is that the same thing?
On what?
No,
depending.
I'm just-
Oh,
Sorry.
you're lying.
That wasn't funny. I'm sorry.
Lying. You're just lying. All right.
Boo
It's time for
K-pop.
Okay. Whoa. Oh, you want to elaborate on
okay.
that?
No, it's just it's like it's not for me, and I don't think it's for any of us. If you like,
You have
K-pop,
such a
that's
Wow,
cool.
Western.
speak for
You have
yourself.
such a Western ear.
I'm sorry. Where am I from?
El West.
Exactly. They call me El Westo, as in the West.
I thought they called you Ed.
And with that, it's time for the question of the pod.
Just you.
I have one I could throw out.
Oh, you already know the one I'm going to ask.
Is there such thing as fate?
Or is it free will?
Oh, that was
That's
the
the
one.
question.
Was it fate or free will that he began and you ended that question?
I'm really into the idea. Like a lot of people believe in like God, fate versus free will, like religion. I believe more in the sense that like we all have like chemical makeups in our own DNA that affect the choices we make.
Whoa.
We have a certain level. We have a certain number of choices we can make, but there are certain choices we can't make as people.
How do we level up?
And I think what?
Yeah, I know,
But-
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like
No, I
for
get it.
example, there's some people who could never kill someone even if it's for self-defense, but there's some
Yeah.
people who like, if they really really had to, they like it's your own makeup and it's your the way you're raised as well.
So that's fate. That's the argument for fate with
it's ki-
DNA.
Kinda. It's like the sense like you have a certain amount of choices, so you have
like the
free
midpoint.
choice.
So you're like 50-50.
Kinda.
I'm about to lay down a crazy thing. Not actually really that
I don't
crazy.
believe you.
Okay, well, you know what? Judge after you hear it. Probably everybody will just get confused.
You have a way of doing that to
Yeah.
people.
Okay. I'm going to try and do this very concisely, but also
So I
not
was
be
at Starbucks.
completely insane. Yeah, I was at Starbucks on a cold, rainy day. No,
After Halloween.
yes. So we're three-dimensional, and that's how we perceive things because we're made to perceive 3 dimensions. One of the leading scientific theories, though, on stuff like this is that there's like different dimensions, and that will tie in, but that ties into time. I can't remember. This is also one of those leading
Time
theories.
is
It's very
vertical?
interesting.
No, time
Yes.
is the fourth dimension.
No, time is perception. So think about how we think of time is all chronological. It's how we watch movies. Everything is in a line because that's how 3-dimensionally we would perceive that. But there's a theory that's really interesting that ties in with that dimensional theory that's just how we're perceiving it because we can comprehend things only in the 3rd dimension. Everything for us is patterns and lines and shapes when it comes down to it. So the theory is that time is actually, I guess it's a hard thing because we can't actually fully understand how it would be because we can only understand the 3rd dimension. But the best way to explain it for us, I guess, is the theory is that it's like everything's happening at once, or it's not like time is not actually all happening chronologically like this. How rude. So then I guess I would say it really just depends on your perspective with fate, because by that logic, me dying, quote unquote, could have already happened, but it's also not going to happen, and it's happening right now. So it just really confuses me.
So is that
My
what
answer
you
is more-
believe?
I have only just started really thinking about it, I guess. So I've been like kind of looking into it, but I don't know if I would say I fully believe it yet. It's just more interesting to me, but I guess I would say I'm undecided on fate.
So
Right
is
now.
it the idea that everything is happening at once? Time is not linear.
Well,
Yeah.
because everything happening at once, though, would still be just our perception of what's actually happening. But we like to think of time as that is a concrete thing, and it's happening chronologically. But for instance,
Time
even the
is a
center of black
construct.
holes, like Interstellar portrays one of the
Okay.
like biggest theories about black holes, which is that time changes in different parts of the universe based on like black holes can do that and stuff.
What does this have to
Ben
do
is
with
playing
fate?
the Oscar music right now.
Yes.
Tell me what this has
So
to do with
like,
fate.
hopefully this makes this make a little bit more sense. The idea that about the fourth dimension, which is time, is that if you were to look at someone and you were perceiving the fourth dimension, let's say I'm looking at Dylan because he's across from me, you would see on the left Dylan as a baby the moment he was born, and you would see a full spectrum of Dylan his entire life up until his oldest moment.
Yeah.
That's what we.
But I'm not just talking about the fourth dimension because there's that, which is interesting. But that theory also goes on to say that there's more than just 4 dimensions, that there's like possibly even
6
infinite.
or 7.
Wait,
Yeah,
are you
6,
guys
7,
telling me
8.
you don't see that way? Like there's baby Augie and there's
Baby
Augie 5 days
Augie.
from now, all the way at the end, the last day of
Last
Augie's
day.
Wait a
life.
second.
Oh, you're
Wait.
dead, bro.
Wait. What do you mean?
Dylan, I recommend you read a story called "They're Made of Meat." It's kind of about that.
Oh, cool.
It's a story about aliens coming to Earth and being like, "They're made of meat."
Oh.
It's a good story.
Interesting.
I'll bring up a fun problem that I was just watching.
2 plus 2.
is-
Oh, God. Why does that keep happening?
Stop. Fun little problem.
Because I can see time,
It's
so I know what
episode-
you're gonna say before you
Episode
say
30, and now we're just all in the same
Yes.
wavelength.
it. We've all synced.
Oof. But
Zoom.
I believe it's called the divine command theory or something. And basically, it's a dilemma in philosophy where
Okay, I'm listening.
if you believe that we get our moral code from a god, then there's two avenues of which that can like exist. Either everything that God says is morally right, but therefore that means there's no morals, because if God created everything and everything that he creates is right, then murder is right. Any way that you live, anything that we've witnessed is right.
Augie is doing the math
Yeah,
right now.
I'm really
He's
trying
like
to
that
keep up
meme.
with you.
Yes. So that's one
That's
avenue.
one.
Everything that God says is morally right. Or if you are a human that believes that murder is wrong and that we shouldn't inflict pain on one another, which is
I probably
how
think that.
I
I
think,
probably think that, yeah.
then what you're saying is that God says. Sorry, wait. I'm trying. I've watched a couple of videos on this, but I'm just trying to summon exactly what it is.
I'm following.
But so
like
either
game theory?
either everything that God says is right,
Game theory.
or God simply says, or God gives us a moral code, but then there is a moral code, and therefore God is not omnipotent anymore because he's answering to this moral code and telling us to do the right things.
What if God created the moral code?
But that's the thing. He's either omnipotent.
Why do you say he?
Okay, sorry. That's fair. That's fair.
That's the real question.
Ben is sexist.
No. But it's either everything that it has said is right, and therefore it's omnipotent, but therefore everything on earth is right because it's been created by him.
Okay.
Or
Him?
Sorry. I'm sorry. Or or there's something higher than God that he answers to that would
Double God.
no, it's Doodle God or Pocket God. What if
Doodle Bob.
what if that was
What
what if that was the secession? It was like Pocket God, Doodle God, the thing from SpongeBob.
Christian God. No.
Whoa.
It goes Percy Jackson God.
Yes.
And then Percy Jackson.
Percy Jackson, you mean the Greek gods?
No. From
Jackson.
I don't know the
Percy Jackson.
demographic of our listeners. If I butchered that, I apologize. I know I did, but
I do know the demographic of our listeners. Kevin, I'm sorry.
Annika, you too.
Eric, shout out.
But anyway, my philosophy on it, fate versus free will. I just wanted to bring up that dilemma because it morals are very tied into this. But I think that we are animals just as much as a bird is animals. We're just more intelligent. So just like your dog responds to stimuli, like when he sees the mailman, like that's
Why do you say he?
I have my dog's a boy. That's the only reason
Why is it a male man and not a
God's
male
a boy.
carrier?
Why isn't it a female man?
I'm so sorry. But But anyway, like I think that we as humans are the same way. Like all we can do is react to what happens around us because we're animals. That's our nature. But despite that fact, like there are people who like I believe in that fact, but I'm not one of the people who believes in that fact and then therefore says, therefore life is meaningless. What are we doing? Do whatever you want. There's no purpose in life. I think despite the absurdity of our being here, we should still engage.
Yeah,
Well said.
I believe.
Yeah,
that you are correct.
I go back
some
and
ways.
forth. I go back and forth just because there's some things that are like so coincidental that like end up working out, which is so weird, and it makes me think
Yeah.
that fate is a thing. Like everything happens for a reason. That usually rings true,
Yeah.
which is really weird. And maybe I've just
Well,
lived like
but I
very
think
fortunately.
It's just, I think it's just inevitable. Though.
maybe like correlation is not
because
like
life goes on. Life goes
Yeah.
on. So you could say everything happens for a reason because no matter what, like
That is
right.
technically
You could
true,
just
yeah.
connect something to the other
it's-
thing.
yeah.
even
I will
though
say, I
other
think
things
that-
didn't happen.
The only thing along these lines that I consider myself like kind of 100% sure of is that there is humans understand probably like less than even, I mean, obviously, but way less than even 1% of all of this stuff. I mean, we basically know about our planet and maybe the moon, but not even really. And there is so
I
much
just
out
watched
there.
The Martian, bro.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Magic
Like,
Dame.
I
My
know,
bad.
I know
Forgot.
how it
Magic
works.
Dame.
Yeah, unless you've watched The Martian or Interstellar, you don't understand.
Or
but
Gravity.
I think it's fun to speculate at, and there's some things where because of math or science, we can kind of start to make a theory about some of these things, but I think that we will always only be kind of scraping the surface. Rude. We will always be kind of only scraping the surface until we get a lot more advanced or go extinct.
Yeah,
We'll just
one
find
thing
out.
that
This is
one
true.
thing that's interesting is like obviously you bring up when you say like these coincidences, like you have to bring up probability, and you're like, what are the chances of this happening? But what's interesting is the universe is so large that probability kind of goes backwards. Like something that's so unlikely in so large a universe becomes in turn likely.
How do you know that after our galaxy there isn't just like an invisible wall and it's a mirror? You don't know.
No, we've witnessed plenty of galaxies that are moving
could
away
just
from
be a
us,
mirror.
scientifically proven.
You
be a
scientifically
mirror?
proven, but how do you know? You don't know. That's the point. No one knows anything.
No, I don't. This
when I
mirror,
look in
this
the mirror,
mirror
I
theory
see
is
a
ridiculous.
galaxy of sexiness.
Because I'm behind
Yeah.
you. What is the Scientology god? It's like Zorg.
Zorro.
No, that's
That's the guy with the
movie.
Oh yeah, it's
That's-
the guy with the mask.
that's the guy who like cuts
That's
a
who they
Z.
worship in Scientology. Didn't know.
Isn't it the thing for? Isn't it the guy from Buzz Lightyear?
Wait, should we call Steve?
Steve
Isn't
No.
it Buzz Lightyear guy? What's that guy's name?
Z Bob. I
Woody?
don't know.
No,
Yeah,
the bad guy
Tim.
from Buzz Lightyear.
Hey Tim.
Oh, Zorg.
Zorg.
Tim.
It's Zorg.
Tim, we know you're a Scientologist. Can you remind us your
no.
Lord and Savior's name? It's I think it's like Zibababab. Are you on it?
Yeah, I'm looking in my holy books.
You mean your comic books?
Xenu.
Yeah, Xenu.
Thank you.
Hail
Thank you,
Xenu.
Steve.
Are you guys laughing at me?
No, no.
Just your religion.
Xenu will strike back. Wait, do you guys hear that in the distance?
Oh my God, Ben.
The room is imploding.
Ben, on your last day, the last form of you, there's an alien behind you that's wearing a name tag that says "I am Xenu."
No.
Hi, Xenu.
No. It's the sound of a train.
Oh.
Do you hear?
It's Xenu on.
It's the recommendation railroad. Who wants to start?
I recommend you read a short story called "They're Made of Meat."
All right.
There you go. It's good.
Is it like a book that you can buy?
No, it's literally you can literally just look up "They're Made of Meat." It's good.
I recommend. Ben already talked about it a little bit, but watch the trailer for yesterday. That looks like it's going to be a good movie.
I recommend. I just started watching The Sopranos on HBO, and that is a very good show.
I might take you up on that.
It's very good.
Which means that I recommend
Not stalling at all.
The Beach Boys.
Okay.
Just the Beach Boys.
solid
They
one.
are good.
Listen,
Name
Yeah,
one
Brian,
Beach Boy
Carl,
song.
Dennis.
Name one Beach Boy song.
Bob Dylan.
No, Bob Dylan was not in the Beach Boys.
He was in the Beatles.
Oh no, Beastie. Beastie. I was thinking of the Beastie Boys.
Oh,
I'm talking about the Beach Boys.
Bob Dylan, the seventh member of the Beastie
You should listen
Boys.
to Good Vibrations.
What's that
Kind
one?
of basic of you.
Okay, fine. How about
That's pretty
Surfing USA?
Wow.
That's the next one that popped into my
I didn't
head,
know
and
it
I
could
am
get
basic
more
when it comes to
basic.
those.
Wait, how about I Get Around?
Who sings Hotel California?
Not Beach
Eagles, the
Boys.
The
Eagles.
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 I recommend the Eagles, the football
You
team.
already wait.
That's absurd.
Well, that's it for Recommendation Railroad. The train is leaving the station.
Goodbye,
Welcome
Xenu.
to the Hotel California.
And that means the podcast is coming to a close. Thank you all so much for listening. Check out all of our social media at French Fox Prod. You know this podcast comes out every Thursday, and our weekly vlog comes out every Sunday on YouTube. Anyone else got anything else to plug going on?
Cheesecake Factory, AARP. Hashtag sponsored.
Hashtag.
Hashtag ad.
Hashtag.
Hashtag we are not responsible.
Picture of me enjoying a cheesecake. Me enjoying delicious cheesecake at the Cheesecake Factory. Hashtag ad. Ow.
This has been Ben,
Peace out, guys.
Will,
Goodbye, everybody.
Dylan,
See ya.
and I am Augie. Have a great Thursday, everybody. I feel like we need like an outro song that just kind of like, it's kind of like mellow and it just kind of like lets
Or an
people kind
intro
of
to the
slowly.
outro.
Back in the 90s, I was on a
What?
very
No,
famous
we can't
podcast.
we can't use someone else's.
Podcast. I'm
French Fox the podcast. We were all doing the podcast and that jazz. Peace out, guys, said Ben.